Well, grandfather's back down on the Jeep farm, and we're working on the mill again today. We've got ourselves some spruce to cut up. What we thought we'd do with this video is show the whole process, from taking a storm damaged down tree and turning it into lumber on the HM122 mill. During this process, we had to actually replace the dull blade from all the other logs that we've cut so far. And we had to experiment and learn the right amount of lubricant to use for these trees that we've been cutting up lately that have so much pitch. Well, the tree we're dealing with today is a Norway Spruce. It actually is a seedling that one of the kids brought home from elementary school, and we planted it alongside the road there with a couple other trees you can see. This one had some storm damage in it, and top was kind of blown out of it. So we had to get it cut down and dragged out of the road pretty quick, so we didn't show any of that part. Out there actually cleaning this thing up, and we're using my 1971 newly restored chainsaw. It's an old Homelight 150, and the thing cuts very well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this tree ready to drag back down to the mill. Well, the log's ready to pull down, and the supervisor has arrived, so we're going to get the Jeep backed up to this and hook it up, drag it on down to the mill. Good thing we live on a farm, because that log is going to make a great big furrow all the way down to the barn. Be nice to have a log hauler. So the supervisor's trying to catch up. She's checking out that lawn, but now she decided to just head the short way right to the source. And then we got it set next to the mill. We actually have to cut it in half to get it on the mill, but we got her down there ready to go. Well, another day. This time we're going to actually get the log up on the mill and get it ready to cut into lumber. Got to take our cover off. Those covers actually do an excellent job keeping the water off. They're heavy duty. I'm not sad at all that I picked one up. So we'll get that out of there. And then I've prep work to do on getting the mill ready to go. First we got to pull the pins out. We pin down that head. You do that because it's a trailer, but also, you know, if you got wind down there and stuff, it's not going to blow the head down to the end of the mill, maybe hit it hard, come off or something. So anyway, we get that ready to go. Then I'm checking everything for level again, because when we set it, it was still kind of wet out there. We had snow on the ground, and see if it's still relatively flat. I think that flat's the most important part. It can be slightly off and level, but as long as it's consistent. And when I checked it here, the mill was pretty good. I think that the far end down there, I'm probably going to have to level up later. Next step is to adjust the tension on the blade itself. I haven't used a torque wrench in the past. I just did it the way they said, with the number of turns, and try and make that flush on there. But I thought I want to kind of check it and see against the torque wrench and see what that tells me. And it came out between 20 and 22 foot-pounds. So I think that I could do it either way, and I'd have the same result. Well, we're getting this spruce log ready to put up on the mill rails there. Got to finish trimming up the branches on it. Then I think we'll go ahead and get it measured up and cut it at, we got about 13.5 foot and 8.5 foot or 9.5 foot, so that I think I can get out of the butt end there quite a few 2x4s, and I need some that are about 12 foot long for a job, so I'm hoping I get some good ones out of there. The upper part will just get some 2x6s or something like that out of it. Okay, we're going to cut the upper part of the log first. So we're going to drag it down so it's in line with the flat part of the mill there. Remember, the upper part I need to probably level out a little bit before I do the next log. But anyway, we're going to get this one up on there and get that ready to cut up. We don't have a tractor with forks on it yet. Got tractor, but don't have any forks for it. So we continue to use the ramps and the winch, which actually works quite well to get the logs up on the bed. And here we're just getting everything set up. Okay, well, we're getting this down to a square cant. Be able to probably get some 2x6s out of this particular log. And one of the things I'm noticing, though, is I'm getting more resistance with the blade. Getting some pitch build up on there, and I've tried adjusting the lubricant a little bit more and trying to get it so it's right over the teeth, because that seems to be where it's coming up at. But we'll keep doing it. It's still cutting and it's cutting straight, so I think we're okay for now. You can see I got my blade guide pushed in there so that my blade doesn't have to span as wide an area for this. And I think that's what's keeping it so that I'm still able to cut fairly flat cuts with this. Because like I say, the blade is giving me some resistance. It's not cutting like it did for quite a while now. So looking to me like pretty soon I'm going to need to change this. Well, after measuring this up here, looks like we're going to be able to take a 1 inch off there that we can use for some stickers, and then I'll be able to get 3 2x6s out of there. And I'm just going with a nominal 2x6. I'm not going full size on this. For the project that I have, that's what I need. I'm just about 1/8 of an inch oversized to handle some of the shrinkage that I'm probably going to get. Well, now we're going to do the bottom half of that spruce log. We got top half done. We ended up with some nice 2x6s out of that are about 9 feet long. So now we'll see what we can get out of this next one. This is the one that I need the 2x4s out of. And I'm hoping I get, about 8 or 10 of them out of there. So first thing we got to do is drag it into alignment there. And since this is a Jeep farm and we needed a short Jeep, we decided to pull Mellow Yellow out of the barn and drag this log back with that. Having to take the time to drag these logs back and forth would be a lot easier if we had the forks on the front of the tractor or some kind of loading thing, but we just don't have that here right now. We've got a tractor with a bucket on it at another location, but I don't have any forks for that at this time either. So right now, this is the way we got to do it. We'll drag it back and then use that winch once again to pull her up on the bed there so we can cut it up. It works anyway. And we get to play with the old Jeeps. Well, that one was pretty smooth. Looks like we're finally getting the hang of it. How to get that ramp set up. How to get that thing in there. That one just went right up on there. I was supposed to like it. So instead of a broom, we've got Iowa using the wire wheel, trying to get the dirt off of the side where the blade enters, and see if we can't keep that dirt from getting the blade dull, or dulling the blade for us. Anyway, this seems to work the best so far, so it's probably going to be a ready tool in the toolbox for this thing. Another tool that I'm getting set up there is this dog has got a taper to it. So the small end's an inch or so smaller. So I have an old scissors jack, probably from about the 1920s. And I think this is going to work just perfect for this. Got a good stiff piece of steel I can put across the rails and get this jack on there. And then just jack it up until the center of the log on the short or the small diameter end is in the same position as the one on the high diameter, and I get more consistent wood cut out of that, and probably a little less stress in the boards themselves. So I was still cleaning up the dirt on there, and this is we're going to clean up on the inside, but realized, and you can see we had a cut there, and the blade was just too dull, and it was starting to dig in and cup on the wood. So we decided this is the time to change out the blade. And this is the first time we've had to change a blade out on there. So we got, I think, quite a bit of wood out of the first one. I don't know how many hours, because when my machine came here, the hour meter didn't work, and I had to wait for a new one to come in. So I'm not exactly sure how many hours I have on the machine. So here's this new blade, and supposed to be a quick change, so we'll see how that works. It's actually going on pretty good. Some people get their blades and they're reversed. Mine seem to have the teeth all going in the right direction. I didn't have to flip them around. So I'm trying to see if it's tracking it all, and then I'll put more tension on it, and then I'll bring it right up to the tensions that I had before, and this time I'll use the torque wrench again to see that it's exactly the same as it was, and then see if it still tracks. Well, it looks like we're still tracking by hand. I'm checking the clearances visually anyway on the guide blocks for right now. And here we go with the torque wrench. And once again, I brought it up, I think 2.5 turns, and it ended up going all the way to the 3 turns, and it was at, once again, between 20 and 22 foot-pounds. So we're all set now. Start cutting this log up. Well, now we're starting on that first cut on this log again, and it is amazing. The sharp blade just cutting right through this log now is so much easier than cutting the last one up. So this part ought to go a lot smoother, and if we keep the dirt and stuff cleaned off those logs like we've been doing, I think that blade will last us a little bit more. And just like magic, the top piece is gone. Holy smokes. Now we just threw that off to the side. Let me raise it just a little bit. Anyway, I think we'll bear down and get this turned into a cant, and then we'll make us some lumber. You notice on there, once again we had to use that jack when we cut the two rounded sides. So took the third side off, and I can get that jack out of there and set her on the other flat side, and we'll be all set. Won't have to worry about that anymore. But that worked out really good. And do some measuring here, trying to get that size so that I can get the maximum number of 2x4s out of there. And it looks like I'm going to be able to get 10 of them out of that log. A couple of them are going to have some rounded edges on there. I might only be able to use shorter parts of them, but looks like I'll have at least 8 decent ones out of there. So I'm looking forward to that. This is just from that tree that was storm damage and needs to be cut down before it fell back. And here we go. Let's cut this thing up. Well, we got these cut in half, so they're actually the width of the 2x4. And now I'm going to start cutting the thickness of the 2x4, inch and a half or an inch and 5/8 on all of these, and we just keep peeling them off. So let's see how it turns out. So Jake come down, gonna pay us a visit, and he's got some stuff he's got to work on over there on his Jeep. So he's just saying hello here. Here comes the first full ones. We don't have any rounded edges on them. The last two, they're going to be good. We can use them for some stuff, but the full-size ones here can be pretty nice boards. Stacking the boards on our rack. It's just amazing though how well that saw is cutting now from changing the blade. It's well worth having the sharp blade on there. Didn't realize that it was not cutting as well. So let's finish up this board. Well, our log is all cut up. Time to shut things down for the night. First thing is we need to detension that blade. So we take care of that. I get the saw positioned so we can get the pins in there. But that would take a minute here. Here's the wood that we got out of that. I did cut up a few stickers in there when I got done with the 2x4, so we got something to put in between it when we're stacking it for drying. But I ended up with 10 2x4s that are 13 feet long. Now we're cleaning out the inside. I'm using a brush right now, but I can see a small blower in my future. It'd make it a lot easier to get that sawdust off of there. I think we finally, checking out the blade there, came up with the right amount of lubricant on there. Mine is, because I was doing the pitch, I had a mixture of pine sol and the water, and it seemed to work really good for me to keep the blade clean. Okay, we're moving it. I got that toolbox that I built. It's an old toolbox, probably, I don't know, close to 40 years old. Had some green paint, so I painted it. It's not an exact match, but it's really handy having it right there. It's got my tools in it and the stuff that I need to take care of this. I put the ramps back in their places, and we'll get that ready to go. Here's another look at my toolbox. You got room for all of the log stops on the top, the straps for holding it down when it's moving. Got my tools in there that I need. I've got the wrenches for loosening the handle, because when I put the cap on, I got to take that. There's a bunch of spare parts, and it's all right there when I need it. One of the last steps after we got the thing pinned down is get a cover back on there. And like I say, that's done a really good job protecting it from the weather. Just a couple of Velcro straps that go around the track, and it's held in place pretty solid. Well, that's the whole process. From getting the down log, dragging it down, and milling it up into pieces. Take one last look at our boards here. It's not a bad haul for that tree, and I think it's going to have some good 2x4s. They're long enough. They're 12-footers, and well, probably about 13 feet, and they're going to do the job for the project that I have. So anyway, really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.